Hey guys, it's Courtney here. I wanted to jump in because I wanted to make sure you're aware that we're here to help you. We are here to help executives get outside consultation and advisory on how they deploy AI in their companies. If you're looking for help developing your AI strategy or to go in depth on some of these topics that we've talked about, come talk to us. We'd love to see how we might be able to help your organization. Check us out at knownwell.com. How does your company create and deliver value? And what role does technology play in that process today? And are you ready to fundamentally reimagine the way you create and deliver value in the AI era? We're going to cover those vital questions and much more today. And be sure to stick around for our last segment when Pete Buer and I are quite literally going to take a taste of the future. Hi, I'm Courtney Baker, and this is the AI Knowhow podcast from Knownwell, helping you reimagine your business in the AI era. As always, I'm joined by Knownwell CEO David DeWolf, Chief Strategy Officer Pete Buer, and Chief Product Officer Mohan Rao. We also have a discussion with Greg Matusky, the CEO and founder of Gregory FCA Public Relations, a leader who's leveraging AI in his own company to optimize how they deliver value. But first, the news. Chief Strategy Officer Pete Buer joins us, as always, to break down some of the latest AI news for business leaders. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Courtney.
So the first story this week comes from Bloomberg. New York plans to embrace AI and regulate it. As artificial intelligence advances, the subtitle reads, local governments like New York City are planning to set guardrails and goals for the technology's use. Mayor Eric Adams announced a plan this week for New York City to become one of the first cities in the U.S. to use and regulate AI widely. Pete, first of all, can those two things actually go together?
When I take a look at what's going on here, I feel like on the one hand, hats off to New York, for getting the kinds of governance structure in place to help protect citizenry and to help protect the agencies. And on the other hand, they've got 30 AI tools out there working in the market already without this governance infrastructure in place, doing things like matching kids to schools, tracking patterns in crime. What could possibly go wrong? I think the lesson for executives listening is, in a way, we are all New York City. Every one of our companies is either using somebody's AI or we're building and launching and deploying using our own. And I think in a moment of honesty, we would also agree we're kind of behind the curve as far as getting the right kind of governance infrastructure in place to protect the business, to protect our customers. And so that's the guidance going forward.
Yeah, so good. All right, so the second story today is from Wired. Google's AI is actually making traffic lights more efficient and less annoying. We're hanging out in the cities today. Here's the abbreviated lead. Each time a driver in Seattle meets a red light, they wait about 20 seconds on average before it turns green again. The delays cause annoyance and expel in Seattle alone an estimated 1,000 metric tons or more of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each day. With a little help from new Google AI software, the toll on both the environment and the drivers is beginning to drop significantly. Pete, what can business leaders take away from this?
Well, if you're a company with a digital product or a digital platform, the analogy is pretty direct, right? You've got a customer journey where they enter into the domain of your offering and they follow traffic, to get to the places that they need to go. Wouldn't it be great if AI could help identify the places where there are annoying red lights that are causing backups and traffic? If you're not fully digital, there's an application too, 1 degree removed from tracking the actual customer journey, which is listening to customers talking about their journey. There are some terrific call summary and analytics tools out there You hear about Chorus and Gong as examples of this, that can listen to calls and read emails and follow web sessions to understand topics that are being raised, complaints that are being issued, objections to sales offers, even pick up on sentiment and tone, which then, of course, through the magic of AI becomes inference and guidance to you on what freaking red lights you need to fix in your business. So I think our guidance here is this is what AI was created for, finding signal in the noise of massive amounts of data and turning it into information that you can use to make your business better.
Thanks as always.
It's a pleasure as always.
The first time I heard about the intersection of value streams in AI was when David, Mohan, Pete, and I were gathered around a whiteboard brainstorming what Knownwell could become on an actual pontoon boat. That's right, on a pontoon boat. While we're not on a boat this time, I asked David DeWolf and Mohan Rao to break down how to reimagine the way your company creates and delivers value. David, Mohan, welcome back.
It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Hey, Courtney. Hey, David.
So I want to start this conversation by going back in time a little bit with you two. I don't know if you're ready. One of our very earliest meetings together was on a boat.
It was.
We brought a whiteboard onto a boat. At that time, y'all kind of framed up a new way of actually looking at how a company creates value as a way to figure out how to leverage AI. And it was the first time I had really heard it talked about this way. So I'm curious if y'all remember that moment, if you could kind of give the audience that same little peek behind the curtain of what your thinking was way back when we were meeting on that boat.
I don't know if my memory is that good, but I am passionate about the topic because I think if you step back and you listen to the conversations about AI, you recognize that there's actually three conversations going on. The first one is actually the technology conversation. It's the advancement of the LLMs, right? We're all familiar with that. The second one is what you talked about, Courtney. And I would define it by very discrete use cases, really optimizing very specific business processes, right? Software engineering is a great example that gets a lot of press. Medical research, right? The pharmaceutical research is another one that gets a lot of press. Content creation is another one that gets a lot of press. But what's fascinating to me is that the third topic, how businesses are going to be run, how we work cross-departmentally, the operations of the organization, how will they change in the future, is the third conversation. And unlike the first two, there's no progress being made there. There's fear, there's uncertainty, but there's a big question mark about how will organizations be run in the future. And what is really compelling is if you look at the data, 85% of a knowledge worker's time is spent not on doing their core job. It's on these operational aspects of business. It's around cross-departmental collaboration. It's around reporting. It's around all of these things that we have imposed into business to make them run better, but are inherently inefficient and ineffective in and of themselves. And so I think that when we talk about the huge gains that will come from productivity, they're going to come through the optimization of this bureaucracy, through the administrivia, through the reporting, through what we are calling intelligent operations, right? Running businesses more efficiently and effectively and driving productivity, not through the discrete use case, but through how all of those use cases are tied together. And that is really, to me, the frame we should enter this conversation with.
Yeah, I think that is so helpful. It kind of sets up what we're all about at Knownwell. And I want to layer in, Mohan, maybe if you will speak to, because I think maybe you were the first person that started to talk about a lens of looking through the value that you create for your customers as the lens to figure out, what your operation looks like, and then how do you embed AI into creating that value?
Exactly. Courtney and David, I think it's the third priority because most people make that the third priority. They start with technology, they look at use cases, and then they look at how do you look at the end-to-end productivity, which is what Courtney is essentially look at your business processes as customer value streams end to end, and then look at how those can be AI enabled. How can you make a data factory out of it? How do you get intelligence out of it? How do you separate out noise from real signals and then be able to throw up these insights that then forms a virtuous data cycle?
On behalf of everybody listening, I feel like the term customer value streams is very known in some industries and maybe not in some other. Can you just give a quick, what do you mean by customer value streams? Because I think that'll help us proceed in the conversation.
Yeah, the term actually comes from manufacturing. It's really how raw materials and information flows first from the customer into the organization, and how that is molded, and then how the value is added back and sent back to the customer. It is that real round trip that we're talking about, from customer to the enterprise and back to the customer is a value stream. Now, there are a number of processes in a company that don't constitute the customer value stream. So here we're talking about the major things that you do for your customers that is usually an end-to-end process. And that's the customer value stream we're talking about. And in a company, there are not that many value streams, all right? So when we were doing process reengineering back in the day, one of the fundamental insights that I learned was even a most complex organization maybe has about 8 value streams, 10 value streams. It's never 100. So it's really that altitude that you need to work at is super important here, that most companies will have anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 value streams.
And the reason we're talking about value streams today is because when it comes to having this new transformational technology, it's a really interesting lens to examine, hey, would this be helpful as an executive for how I look at our organization again?
Yeah, absolutely, right? We're thinking about the applications of AI, right? Ultimately, what we're talking about here is a new technology that's coming in. And you can drive that from a technology perspective, but that is a hammer in search of a nail, right? What we want to do is turn that conversation on its head and say, okay, in our businesses, what are those fundamental value streams that are driving value to customers? And how do we look at those and say, where might AI actually optimize the efficiency and the effectiveness with which we do that? And when you do that, you begin to surface these use cases that are high impact and will have a fundamental difference associated with it when it is implemented. And that's where you want to spend your dollars. That's where you want to invest, is in those types of use cases.
Yeah, and David and Courtney, what's really amazing about that is as there is more usage, there's more data. And when there's more data, you can build better algorithms. That means you can provide better services to your customers. And hopefully there's more usage, more revenue, which creates more data and for you to create better algorithms. So it's this real virtuous data cycle that we're talking about, that more usage should lead to better scalability, not worse scalability as most of the traditional operating models are.
I'm curious from both of you, what do you think the next steps are? If I'm an executive, what do I take away from this?
So as you look at the value streams, you look at your business processes end to end, it's really important to know which of these is going to impact your strategy in a material way. Are you looking for operational efficiencies? Are you looking for new revenue sources? What is it that you're looking for? Tie it back to the strategy. And then once you've done that, you'll start looking for AI potential within these value streams. And that usually falls into one of two things. Either it falls into revenue opportunities, new services enablement type opportunities, or it gets into operational efficiencies. So one of the two. And furthermore, within that, you can look at it and say, is a part of the work that's getting done can we provide a co-pilot to the employees so that they can do work more efficiently, or potentially create an autonomous process that is consuming it and be able to make a decision and implement the decision as well. So it breaks down into a couple of simple 2x2s here from a decision matrix perspective.
I actually think there's a very simple first step that executives can take, and that is starting to get smart around their business and what are the key value streams, and beginning to map out those value streams so that they understand what they are. Once you have that type of clarity, it becomes a lot easier to map that clarity to the knowledge of, oh, I know what AI is and what it might be able to do. Ooh, here's where it might unlock some value. And so that clarity, that simple step of mapping your value streams and really making sure there's clarity around what they are and that the organization is aligned around that, I think can be incredibly valuable. And frankly, has nothing to do with technology, data, AI, just preparatory work.
Well, I think that's some really helpful, this week, and start thinking about if you're not familiar with value streams, what that looks like, getting educated. Thank you, Mohan and Pete. I think this was a really great conversation. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Courtney, I'm David.
What did I say, Pete?
And I'm still Mohan.
Listen, we have already established on this podcast that I do terrible with names. Okay. Hey, thank you to my boss, whose name is David. You're an executive in the pursuit of excellence, and leveraging AI is pivotal in your company's future. We've created an exclusive AI readiness assessment that's available right now at knownwell.com. Now, you may be asking yourself, why take this assessment? 2 reasons. The first is strategic insight. You're going to be able to discover the pivotal steps to catapult AI-driven growth in your business. The second is some customized analysis to help you uncover specific areas that need enhancement for optimal AI implementation. The assessment is quick and insightful. In just 10 minutes, you're going to be able to redefine your business trajectory when it comes to AI. You can access it now at knownwell.com. For an even more tangible discussion around today's topic, Knownwell Chief Strategy Officer Pete Buer talked with Greg Matusky about his experience reimagining how his PR agency creates value. Greg is no stranger to AI. In fact, he's what you might call an early adopter. He saw the writing on the wall years ago that generative AI was going to disrupt media, journalism, and public relations.
Greg, thanks so much for being here.
Well, it's an honor to be here, Pete.
As Courtney alluded to moments ago in her introduction of you, you are a visionary. You saw AI coming to disrupt your business. What did you see coming, and did it play out the way that you expected?
Well, I don't think it played out the way anyone expected, but we did see a number of years ago a transformational event on the horizon, and that was generative AI. I mean, we're storytellers, we're content generators. The first time we saw it, it was just mind-altering. It was very crude, but I think in our year-end meeting in 2021, we actually showed a news release written with AI, and it wrongly said we had a mascot that was a frog. But other than that, it showed the first rudimentary success in machine-generated content that was pretty on par with what we needed to do. So we started working hard. We developed our own internal tool, AI tool. We called it GladWrite after Malcolm Gladwell, one of my favorite writers. And then we released the first online free news release writing tool called Write Release. So I think we were the first PR agency in the world, I'd like to say, that actually generated their own AI platform for content development in-house, which even preceded OpenAI. And then when, of course, ChatGPT came out, Pete, I was just floored. And one of the things that excited me most was it took me years to become a competent writer. And now I really think I thought I could help others accelerate their learning curve more quickly. And so I was very excited about it. We've invested a lot of time and money. I'm chief evangelist within the firm. I learned it myself so I can make it clear to the staff that this is a vital tool and you need to learn it.
So early adopter, got product out into market quickly and tested it. Do you find that it has moved the business for you?
Well, it's been an amazing process on two levels. One is productivity. We have about 90% buy-in of people within the firm now who use, we're an open AI shop, Microsoft, Bing, who use it for many of their projects they report. And that's been a real productivity gain. And especially with junior talent, which I'm sure you've seen the recent Boston consulting study about how the professors in Ivy League schools increase productivity in junior performers at the consulting group. And we see the same thing. We can take junior talent and have them write at a C-suite level more quickly, more proficiently, and that's a productivity gain. And it also has really been a boom for our business because when we meet with prospective clients in AI to do public relations, we just don't talk the talk. We walk the walk and understand all the risk and all the opportunities that are out there.
In conversations with many of the companies that we work with, we're hearing news of resistance to new tools, AI-powered tools. What was your secret for getting to 90% uptake?
It was two things. I think advocacy on my part and a serious conversation with those inside the firm, which really amounted to the only way I can safeguard your career is if you learn these tools, and I'm committed for your career to really to be optimal. And this is important. I'm 62 years old. I've been writing since I was 26. I know how this works. I know how the mind works. I know what it would take for you to gain the kind of talent that I've achieved just by redundancy, And this, I think, can accelerate you. So that's one thing. It's in their best interest. And secondly, constant training and conversations. We'll have town halls where we go over what other people in the firm are doing with AI. We celebrate it. We share it. We collaborate. And now a lot of it's incoming. I'm no longer the one saying to them, look, you can do a crisis management project on AI. They're coming to me and saying, look, I built a tone of voice analyzer for CEOs that they can take this test and it will identify who they write like or who they'd like to write with, which eliminates the friction when a client says, it just doesn't sound like me.
That's cool. On your LinkedIn website, there's a line, you are passionate about human communication and how it powers our culture, our economy in the future. Of course, a lot of people see AI as a threat to those things that are innately, uniquely human. How do you reconcile the two?
I think we're in for a huge transformational event in the history of human communication, on par with the Gutenberg printing press and the internet and smartphones and social media. I think we're moving from the age of information, the information age, to the age of intelligence. For me, in content, the world of information was verb tense, grammar, syntax, right? That were all data points. Now, I think I can leverage that and help separate out thinking from words and language, right? The age of thinking, I would say, is upon us. And now we can concentrate on those bigger ideas, those bigger messages, and really delivering them in a way that's high impact.
Last question before we sign off. I'd be remiss not to inquire about your podcast. What's the focus and where can we find it?
Well, I'm having a blast. It's called The Disruption Is Now, and we're talking to individuals who are thick in the things of all things AI, just seeing how it's disrupting different businesses. And it's a lot of fun. I'm talking with people like yourself who are really doers, who are thinking about these in the broad sense, and just bringing it to audiences who have to confront a wide range of issues, as you know, as it's deployed within enterprises.
Greg, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you here today. I'm sure we'll be talking again very soon.
Thanks, Pete. It was a lot of fun.
So if you listen to our first episode of the show, you may remember our In the News segment on Coca-Cola's new Y3000 flavor. Just as a reminder, this was a flavor that Coca-Cola used AI to determine what our future taste would be like. What would the soda be that we like in the year 3000? And so we're actually going to find out ourselves here on the air. Now, Pete, you're joining me for this, so welcome. Here we've both got our bottles of Y3000. Here, Pete, I had to go to 3 stores to find mine. I think you were smart and had yours just sent via Instacart.
Yeah, magically appeared.
Let's just jump in here.
Let's do it.
That good.
The good news is my kids didn't shake it up, knowing that I was going to need to use it on this podcast. Kind of smells like Coke, right? Like the Coke that I know, anyway.
Okay,
I'm
going for. You know what it tastes like to me is like a melted Coke icy.
Huh.
What are you getting?
I'm getting the floor of a flower shop.
The floor of a flower shop. Do you get some caramel? I get some caramel.
Yeah, I get dead roses. Is it flat, or is mine bad?
You know, I would confirm that there have been lots of talk of that it tastes flat. That is,
carbonation isn't a thing anymore in the year 3000.
Full disclosure, I actually tried this before.
So I
had to do it. Okay, so I was on vacation and I saw it and I was like, by golly, I gotta taste this thing Pete talked about. And the first time I tried it, Pete, it tasted just almost like completely like caramel to me. And I was like, that is terrible. I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever tasted. I gotta be honest, it doesn't taste nearly as bad as the first time that I had it. So, honestly, to me, it tastes like a melted icy that you've put Coke and some cherry in, to me.
With a dash of flowers.
With a dash of flowers. Pete, I want you to give it a rating, 0 to 10. What's your scorecard here?
Well, let's be relative. Because I'm not a regular Coke drinker, Coke for me is probably, a 6. And I don't know, this is like a 5. It just feels like a mild detour from what I know as the base product.
I would give a Diet Coke a 10. Okay, so there's my base level. I love a Diet Coke. Okay, so I'm going to give this, I wouldn't go buy it, but I would say, I would probably give it a 6. So there you go. If you hate it the first time, try it again.
I guess the conclusion is the future is an acquired taste.
That's it for today's episode of AI Knowhow, brought to you by the team here at Knownwell. If you're looking for help on how to help you reimagine your organization for the AI era, then make sure to visit knownwell.com. You can also take our free AI assessment to help you figure out where your company stands currently when it comes to adopting AI. Of course, do all the things you do with podcasts. We would really love it if you would take time to share it, rate it, subscribe, leave us a review, anything. We love those. As always, we like to see what ChatGPT has to say about the subject on hand. So ChatGPT, what do you have for us this week?
Companies using AI to find new value streams gain a competitive edge through faster, data-driven decisions. This innovation optimizes operations and creates new revenue opportunities.
Now you're in the know. We'll be back next week with more AI news, panels, and discussions.